Good evening. There is a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings success, companionship, happiness, health, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. Welcome. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality according to the New Thought tradition. New Thought teaches that there's one ultimate loving energy that is present in everything that exists. It expresses in you, through you, and as you. You can call this power whatever you like. God, spirit, infinite intelligence, divine love. It's not a personality that is outside of us, but rather it is a presence that is within us. We are inherently spiritual beings having a human experience. New Thought teaches that we co-create with God and that our thoughts create our realities. And then when we align our thoughts with the perfection of God, that we can heal sickness and we can break free from lack and limitation and choose a way of life that is peace-filled, joy-filled, empowering, and you can make a difference in the world. The mission of Spirituality Rocks is to teach New Thought principles to empower people to awaken to their divine nature, expand their consciousness, and express their highest potential. The world is undergoing a rapid transformation, a spiritual transformation, because people are hungering for spiritual truths. People are hungering to know more about the power within them. And this power is seeking expression in you, through you, and as you. And what I'd like to do today is talk to you a little bit about spiritual practice, which if you've watched the show before, we focus on this every week, to take time for a spiritual practice, whether you do affirmative prayers, say affirmations, whether you meditate, whether you do spiritual study, go to spiritual community, or go out and commune with nature. And the way I want to teach you about today is visualizing light. Light, L-I-G-H-T. My friend Reverend Michelle calls it living in God's highest truth. Light is energy, and it represents the energy of God. It carries with it the intention of healing, peace, love, and joy. Visualizing light is very simple. All you need to do is sit quietly, close your eyes. You can do it as I'm speaking with you now, and imagine a cloud of light above you. And imagine pure white light descending and flowing in the top of your head. A glorious waterfall of white light energy that shines like a million diamonds. And imagine this light flowing through the top of your head. And imagine it just coming down through your whole body. And allow that light to flow into every cell of your being, that it enlightens and enlivens you and it nurtures you. And let it fill up your mind and body. And then just take a moment to notice how you feel. And continue to just breathe in this light and visualize this beautiful white light energy that shines like millions of diamonds coming down and radiating out from your body. And carefully, just for a moment, bring your attention to anywhere in your life where you may perhaps be feeling sadness or a sense of emptiness or loss or any kind of separation, or any place in you that you'd like to have an experience of healing. Bring this divine light into any place in your life where you may be experiencing a challenge. Because what happens, negativity is consumed by this beautiful white light. And the light can nourish, renew, and revitalize you. And then you can take the light and bring it visually in your mind, bring it to places in your life where there's positivity, where there's wonderful things. Think of people that you love. Think of people that you want to encourage and support. Think of work or service, and you can bring the light. So just bring anything into your consciousness that you want to have that energy of peace and love and healing and joy, and visualize and write in this beautiful white light. Then you can fill up the room that you're in, the house that you're in, or the building that you're in, and then extend the light out into your neighborhood, into the town, into the state, into your country. And then you can literally visualize the planet and shower the world with this wonderful white healing light energy that just shines like a million diamonds. It's such a beautiful visualization. Doing this on a daily basis will bring a sense of peace and calm and contentment to you. And when I think about light, I'm reminded of the beautiful prayer by James Dillett Freeman of Unity Worldwide. That movement is also part of the New Thought denomination. And it goes like this. The light of God surrounds me, and the love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And a lot of us have added a little addendum to the end, and all is well. Now, in just a moment, you're going to see on the screen my email address, which is drjanineburns@gmail.com. And if you write to me at that email address, I will send you a copy of this prayer of protection. I encourage you every day, take 5 to 7 minutes and practice visualizing light. It's a wonderful tool to empower you on your spiritual journey. And as mentioned, if you send me an email, I'll be happy to send that to you, or any other questions you might have, we can answer for you on the show. Today, I have a juicy show for you. I always have juicy shows. And if you've been watching, you know juicy is one of my favorite words. I have my friend Dennis Merrit Jones, who I met back in the, I think it was 98. I'm not sure. He'll tell us when he comes on. He wrote several books. And what we're focusing on today is The Art of Uncertainty, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It. This book is fantastic. It has so many amazing nuggets of truth. And what I just found out, Barnes & Noble chose it as one of their rewards, and what they did is they republished it, and it can be purchased at Barnes & Noble for half price off the hardcover, which is fabulosity. And we also have The Art of Being, and I'm already encouraging Dr. Dennis to be on the show again in February so we can talk about this book, The Art of Being, and 101 Ways to Practice Purpose in Your Life. So, and also on the show today is Barbara Griminger of the Center for Spiritual Living in Hicksville, New York. She's joining me in the studio. So, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a few moments with Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am
Welcome to Formula Auto Wash, where every day is a great day for a car wash. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Sundays 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Detailing packages for every budget, starting out at $29.99. 100% hand wash and detail centre. Hog's hair and microfiber brushes and mitts. Proudly using Ecolab Blue Coral soaps and waxes. Formula Auto Wash has served the community for over 30 years. Senior discounts all day, every day. Ladies' Day Wednesday, $3 off any wash. Early bird discount Monday through Thursday till 9:30 a.m. Check out our website, formulaautowash.com.
Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware.
We have 3 of the largest showrooms of safes on display and in stock. You can see and touch them in person instead of browsing a catalog. We carry gun and rifle safes, burglary safes, jewelry safes, fire rated from a half hour to 2 hour. Famous name brands.
We sell Gardol.
We sell AMSAC.
The new AMSAC touchscreen.
If you're ever in need of a safe, think Brooklyn's best, Locksmith and Hardware. Right, Lockie?
That's right, Alan.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. Delighted to bring to you today our special guest via Skype, Dr. Dennis Merrit Jones. Welcome, Dennis Merrit Jones.
Hello, my friends. Good to see you.
Fantastic to have you with us. And in the studio, I have with me Barbara Griminger.
Hello.
She is a licensed practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living over in Hicksville, New York.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
You-
And nice meeting you, Dr. Dennis.
I'm excited today because we are going to be focusing on the book, The Art of Uncertainty, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It. This book is filled with nuggets. I encourage you to pick up this book. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And what I liked was the beginning is Dr. Dennis wrote, when it comes to life, we often have a far greater attachment to knowing how the story is going to end long before it does, and we suffer greatly because of it. We want to know what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day. We want control, right?
Yes, we do. It was interesting how you talked about your one of your children who wanted to hear the same story over and over again because they were so reassured by knowing exactly what was going to happen and when it was going to happen.
That's what we all want. We all want to know how the story ends. The story, of course, being our lives. You know, how's our life sequentially unfolding in a way that we live happily ever after. Of course, that's part of the fairy tale, is that life is essentially a mystery. Whether you like it or not, that's the bottom line. It is a mystery. So it's not really about trying to make life something other than a mystery or a place where uncertainty is the known factor, because it is unknown. The question is, how do you make peace with living with uncertainty? And that's really the quest for the book. And I think that's why people have drawn such value from it, because it helps them not overcome uncertainty, but learning how to dance with it in a way that gives their lives purpose and meaning.
Yeah, because a lot of people find it scary to step out.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we don't like to let go, and allow. We don't like to let go and allow the spirit within us to guide us and direct us. In the book you said that our consciousness is the filter through which the unlimited potential of the universe flows. Talk to us more about that. Well,
we exist in a field of pure potentiality. That's the bottom line. That teaching is ageless, and the question is, how do you access pure potentiality? And the only way that we can access it is through our own consciousness or our belief system, where we become the funnel through which infinite potential flows into a quantified form that we can experience, that's tangible. Anything is possible in the realm of mind, in the realm of our beliefs, and we become the conduit through which that becomes actualized. Anything is possible. We live in a universe of infinite possibilities. It just requires the right consciousness to be the receptacle for an idea and give it form.
Well, I know that you said that one of the things in the book that stops us is that we become attached to our stories. But what about is it? Why do we hold on to our stories? What's up with that?
Well, our stories are one of the things that give us a reason sometimes to stay stuck in the past and to stay stuck in the known. See, the past is only that which we bring into the present moment that becomes the predictor of the future. As long as we're living in the past, we're comfortable in knowing that we don't have to step into the unknown in order to have a sense of purpose in our lives. How many of us live our lives based on the stories of what happened yesterday or last week or 20 years ago, that we keep telling the same story over and over and over again. And as long as we're telling the same story over and over again, we're living out of the past. And the reality is you cannot create anything new from within the field of what you already know.
Right, exactly.
For you to create something new in your life, you have to step out of the box and into uncertainty, where all possibilities exist. As long as we're operating from a consciousness of what we already know, we're going to just create another version of what we know. It may look different, smell different, taste different, but it's going to be the same essential thing. So in order to create something new in our lives, we have to step into uncertainty, where all possibilities exist. And that scares the bejeebers out of people.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And you even said there was a lot of power. In the book, you said there was a lot of power in talking about the past.
Right.
Sure.
You know, it's interesting. I think those of us that have found new thought have a different perspective about that. And I think the general public at large doesn't realize that there is another way to think about things, that there is something positive in the unknown. I think a lot of people are very invested in things being the way they are. This is the way it is, and this is the way it's always going to be. And there's a real attachment to that.
Yeah.
And I think we have such an advantage of having been exposed to this new way of thinking about things and realizing that we have the power to, like you said, you can't create anything out of the field of the known. You're just going to be repeating what you've already have. So
And
you
in
have to go into that field of the unknown.
Right.
It's almost a given.
And remember in the book where Dr. Dennis gives workshops, and
Right.
you had to write down on a piece of paper what you wanted to let go of and
Right,
release.
right.
And then apparently you went out into a field where you already had a hole dug, and everybody dropped into it as if it were a grave, and that you're going to bury it and just totally release it. I really like that you did that, Dennis.
I do that in all my mindfulness retreats, where I dig a hole and have a box that I have people put their release statements in, and then we conduct a memorial service for all that which has been put in the box. And it's a powerful process to let go. And that's really one of the questions, the main questions in understanding how to live with uncertainty, is to ask ourselves the question, what do I need to let go of?
Right.
What do I need to let go of, and when? And if you listen to the stories you'll tell, you'll begin to identify what it is you need to let go of that's keeping you from moving into the present moment with an ability to create something new in the future.
Right, what limiting beliefs, what limiting attitudes, or what limiting thoughts are
Right.
blocking you.
Right.
And you know what, this time of year, a lot of people do burning bowl ceremonies. We mentioned it recently, where you write down what you want to release, and you actually take of course, you do it outside, and be careful, but you put a little bonfire. Bonfires can't be little, but put a little fire and then just literally burn it up.
Right.
You know, which is a strong nonverbal message to the subconscious mind,
And
that
then-
you're willing to let go.
Right. And then you have that memory. Every time you start going back to that story, you can remember, I burned that and released it. That's a little tool for yourself.
Yeah, let's clarify. When we talk about telling our story, what we really mean by that.
Okay.
Think about anybody who's ever been through a divorce or had a tragic experience in the past, and they continue to talk about that long after the event has passed, sometimes long after the person we're talking about is dead and gone to heaven. We're still telling the story about he did, she did, they did me wrong. And what happened, the danger in that is when we tell the story over and over and over again, it begins to become the truth for us, and it defines who we are. And then ultimately people see us coming down the street. They don't have to ask us how we're doing because they know our story already before we even get there. So the point is to understand that your story, if you tell it often enough, begins to define who you are. And if you want to redefine yourself, you have to find a new story. And it can't be based in the past, and it can't be based in being a victim.
Exactly. Clarified that point, because I think a
was good.
lot of us do it unconsciously, because it's
You
so
know,
familiar.
That's if you have the courage, one of the best things you can do is find a person who really knows you well, like a friend, a relative, your partner, that you really trust, and that you can get into that non-defensive zone and say to them, tell me, what story do you hear me telling over and over and over again throughout my life? And if you're willing to hear what they're telling you, you can begin to pinpoint it and discern how you can begin to unwind that story and find a new story that affirms the truth about who you want to be, not who you were.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you talked about in the book how a lot of us have resentment or envy towards another person. And what I really liked what you said about that when you hold resentment, you allow someone to live rent-free in your head.
Right.
And,
That's,
what,
yeah. There's a great saying, the Tao Te Ching, when I let go of what I am, I become what I can be. And when I let go of what I have, I receive what I need. And in order for us to get the value from that idea, we have to be willing to open up to releasing and making space for something new to come in to our lives. And that's the process that a lot of people, they're so attached and so constricted around ideas, thoughts, and beliefs, they're not willing to open themselves up to the possibility of something new, something bigger, something better showing up. But the requirement is you have to be willing to let go before you receive.
and do you remember in the book where Dr. Dennis talked about that we live in a sea of infinite potential? You do speak about that. And that you call it the unformed energy of pure potentiality. And you talk about how you access that seed of potential greatness.
Well, that's called the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, where we call our minds back into our bodies. Have you ever noticed when you're dealing in uncertainty how often your mind does a great job of running out in front of you into the darkness and conjuring up all kinds of reasons and excuses why you shouldn't move forward with something? And mindfulness is, and then it reports back to you why you shouldn't step out of the box.
Right.
But mindfulness is bringing your mind back into where your body is, breathing into the moment, and being available to what the present moment has to offer you. And we have to be in the moment with our mind in order to be receptive to that, which means we have to let go of the past. How many of us in our daily lives, our minds are focused either on the past or the future rather than in the present moment? Right now, those people watching this broadcast, take a breath. Take a deep breath right now. Where's your mind? Bring it back into your body. Forget about what you're going to have for dinner or what he or she did yesterday or about what the weather's going to be this next week. Breathe, be here now, and experience the full potentiality of what the present moment offers you.
That's good. When you were talking about the mind running off and doing different things, it brought to mind your acronym for fear, which is forget everything and run. And I thought that was so great because that's the seed of so many distractions from that mindfulness. So many things that call our attention away from what we really want to be focusing on. We run away with our bad habits, with whatever.
But fear is one of that is, the F word. The other F word is fear, and it's an acronym. A lot of people, the acronym is,
false evidence appearing real.
Right.
But when you look at it as forget everything and run, which is what a lot of people do, isn't it? When scary things pop up in front of them, especially in the field of uncertainty, they turn, if not literally, metaphorically, run from it. And look how we run to the medicine cabinet, we run to the liquor cabinet, we run to the refrigerator, we run to the shopping mall. There's all kinds of diversions that we can take. I call them, taking barges down the river of denial. But sooner or later, you have to come back to that point where you departed from, whether it's however you avoid being in that place of uncertainty where fear looms. You have to come back and face it. And there's three aspects of fear that I'd love to share with your audience because I think they're very powerful in being able to step into uncertainty and not only live with it, but be creative in it in a way that benefits their lives in amazing ways.
Okay.
The first thing is understand, you have to ask the question, what role does fear play in keeping me stuck where I am?
Say that again, what will what?
What role does fear play in keeping me stuck where I am, in this box of the known, okay? And we have to first understand that there's nothing wrong with fear. Fear is not our enemy. What we have to understand is we had, a lot of us wouldn't be walking the planet today if there wasn't some modicum of fear in our lives growing up that helped keep us alive. But here's the problem. Somewhere between our childhood and now, as adults, the boundary or the border between what to fear and what not to fear got blurred. And so we drag a lot of our fears of the past into the present moment where they don't belong. And so it's not about calling fear bad, it's understanding that fear can be a launching pad for something wonderful for us if we're willing to embrace it and let it be in our lives rather than try to push it away. You know, babies are born with only two fears. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Other than that, every fear we have is acquired. And what I would propose to you is that what we acquire, we can unacquire. What we learn, we can unlearn. We can transcend it, okay? So the three questions that regarding fear that you can use as a litmus test or to help you navigate not just through your fear, but to transcend it, is understand that fear is not out there. Number one, it's not out there. Fear arises from within us. It's stimulated from what's out there, but it arises from within us. So the first point of identity is understand your fear is not out there. So you can run, but you can't hide from it because it's not out there.
But we think it's out there. We think that we think that we're afraid of the economy, we're afraid of the weather, we're afraid of things. But you're saying that it's really our perception of it that is the issue.
Right.
Okay.
So the next step is to redefine what fear is.
Okay.
Okay? And think about it this way. Fear, under all of its disguises, all its different masks, is a concern, an attachment to loss of some sort. You can think of it as an attachment to a concern of death. All fear is attached to death. I'm not talking just about the physical death of our bodies, but what about the death of a relationship, or a bank account, or a lifestyle, or a physical capacity? What about all the ways in our lives that we can experience the concern of loss? And when we live in that place of that kind of fear, it restricts us. Okay, and so the resolution is to learn how to dance with your fear. Understand that it's not your enemy; that it actually is your teacher.
Yes, that's huge. That's huge to think that fear is our teacher rather than our enemy and run from it.
Make friends with it. In the East, they say you have to learn how to dance with the beast. You look the beast in the eyes, and that means you embrace your fear. In my workshops, I do a guided meditation where I actually bring people through this guided visualization onto a dance floor. And around the edges of the dance floor, they see all their fears sitting like wallflowers waiting to be asked to dance.
Oh.
And I invite them to walk up to the fear that is the most predominant in their lives and ask it to dance. And so you escort your fear out into the middle of the room and you hold it like a dance partner and you pull it in close. That doesn't mean the fear is not legitimate. It just means that rather than running from it, you're embracing it for what it is in the moment. And you hold it close and you whisper in its ear and you say, "Oh, master teacher of the moment, tell me, what is it I need to know about you so I can transcend you and move on with my life, creating something bigger, greater, beyond where I currently am?"
Wow.
And if you listen, your fear will tell you what it is you need to let go of.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's really that's very powerful. Very, very powerful. You know what? It's time for a commercial break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the labels that have restricted us through our lives and how we can redefine who we are by looking at who we are not. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a few moments with Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divine.
This is Beth.
Hi.
Oh, congratulations. When are you due?
I'm not pregnant.
Look at that. Excuse me.
You're totally thin.
You look very sexy.
For life's bleachable moments, all it takes is 3/4 of a cup.
Guys, ready for the show? Yeah. Enjoy.
YesWeCare.net is a 501c3 charity that provides help to veterans and their families. Please visit YesWeCare.net and donate in any way you can by purchasing our beautiful framed prints or relaxation CDs and DVDs, even smooth jazz CDs. YesWeCare.net. Remember, our troops are on their way home. They need all the support they can get. YesWeCare.net.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. Delighted to have with me in the studio Barbara Griminger.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
And on Skype, we have Dr. Dennis Merrit Jones. Did you know that besides being a prolific author of numerous books, I like your one on how to speak religious science, by the way, Dennis also writes for the Huffington Post.
I did not know that.
Yes, he writes for the Huffington Post. What I wanted to look at is what you said in the book, because this really struck me, because I know I had a lot of labels growing up, and labels which were just so not true, but I believed them because they were, you know, they were nicknames given to me.
Right.
But what you said here is that, I quote from the book on page 79, that our labels restrict us, and it is never too late to redefine who we are. I just thought that was absolutely amazing. Tell us more about how to reject the old labels.
Well, you know, that it's not so much about rejecting them. Again, it's understanding what lies on the other side of them. This is such a commanding topic for me that it ended up being the theme for my new book, which will be out in May.
What's the title?
I think I told you, You're Redefining Moments.
Okay.
How to be who you were born to be.
Oh.
And the whole premise of that book is to find your way back to that sacred being you were at the very moment that you occupied this body of flesh and bone. Who were you at that moment before you began to get all the labels slapped all over you from, I mean, the moment you were born, you got labels such as gender, ethnicity, religion. You had all these labels that year after year after year, more and more labels got slapped on us to a point by the time we're in adulthood, we are just this walking proliferation of labels, and underneath it, all of it, we've forgotten who it is that we really are. So the process of peeling away the labels or looking underneath them is always about self-inquiry.
Well,
it's about...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I just love that you said that in the book. You said, I'm a sacred being with access to divine potential. Didn't you love that?
That was great.
I mean, that was just so, there was something about that that just like really resonated from my core. And I guess there was that within me that identified with it.
Well, there's always been teachers throughout history that have proven that. You know, if one human being can do it, any human being can do it. It's just a matter of embodying the consciousness or the beliefs that you can, that you can create, you can manifest that way.
Right. And you talk in the book about how failure is not an option. And that is something that it seems like people could incorporate into their understanding of themselves, is that they were, as individualized expressions of God, they have that pattern of success within them, and they have the tools to be able to be successful at whatever it is that they undertake. And you talk about the yes factor.
Love the yes factor.
Could you explain? I think that is a really excellent way to describe the law.
So the universe works. We are hardwired to succeed. Even when we're failing, we are succeeding at failing. It's an odd thing, but if you look at the way the universe works, it's everything succeeds. Even if it appears to our eyes to be not succeeding, it's succeeding according to the deepest, at the human level, the deepest level of our beliefs. And so if the universe is always saying yes, it only knows one word. This is the law of cause and effect. It is always responding to our deepest belief. Whatever that belief is, the universe says, yes, let me help you prove it.
Yes. I love the way you said that. You said the universe says, now let me help you succeed in proving that you are correct. It sounds so friendly. It sounds so supportive. And yet we don't realize we're giving it direction inadvertently very often, giving it direction to go in where we don't want to go with it.
Barbara, that's exactly why mindfulness is so important. The practice of bringing your mind back into your body and being present within the moment. Because if you're conscious enough, you can observe where your mind is, you can observe the thoughts you're having, and if the thoughts you're having are counterproductive to creating the kind of life you want to have, you can challenge those thoughts and put it on pause and say, wait a minute, where did you come from? How did this thought take birth in my life? I want to challenge it and track it back to where it came from so I can unlearn it, so I can hold a higher idea about it.
That's great. And I've heard also, I don't know where I learned it, but to challenge any belief with the question, is it true for everyone? If it's not true for everyone, it's not true. It separates out what's fact from what's truth. So yes, you grew up with the idea that you were chubby or whatever. That was a fact. But the truth is, I'm perfect, whole, and complete as I am now. So it's a good kind of discernment tool.
Right.
Yeah. We're talking about, you're talking about really learning how to be perfectly imperfect. Because there's nothing in the human realm that is perfect, and yet the dual nature of life, or the divine dichotomy, is everything is perfect because that's the nature of God. That's the nature of the universe. We label something imperfect, and until we label it imperfect, it is perfect.
Okay.
Back to labels.
I think probably something that would resonate with a lot of people is the idea that you're just in the book, that it seems that life have singled out some people to succeed and some people to fail. And you talked about how that's just not true because of this yes factor and how it functions, how the universe is always saying yes to whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're talking about. And you said that if you do have something that you perceive as a failure, that you should celebrate your failures.
Yeah, that sounds odd, doesn't it?
It sounds really odd. Tell the people about that.
But the reason to celebrate your failures is that it's proof that you're a creative being. And that if once you honor and own the fact that you've created something, then you're embracing the fact that you are a creative being who can channel that energy in a new direction and create something else. But if we're staying behind the role of victim, victims are helpless. You'll never be able to change the dynamics of that energy and turn it into a positive.
Right. Barbara, could you mentioned before about the exercises in the book. Could you comment on that for the audience,
Oh, sure.
please?
Absolutely. I really loved the book because you have such a huge menu of spiritual tools to use. Your mindfulness practices.
In every chapter.
In every chapter, there are several tools that you can use for self-examination. And this self-examination leads you back to your inner self, back to that wholeness that's within you. And I found there were so many to choose from. I think it's really great to give people options. Try each one. Eric Butterworth said we're in the laboratory of life, and you provide so many experiments.
Yeah.
Try this on, see how it works for you, see if it helps you access that feeling of peace. Several of them that you mentioned I really liked. One, of course, is the gratitude journal. I think that's so helpful. Like you said, track your failures and your success, but a gratitude journal can help you track all of the good in your life, and focusing on it helps you remember all the good that you have, and it helps it grow.
And Plato said a grateful mind is a great mind, which eventually attracts great things. Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I appreciate that, all the different exercises.
Really good.
You know what, it's time for our last commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to have an affirmative prayer, and we're going to talk about habits, which I really like how Dr. Dennis addresses habits, because usually when you say habit, you think of something bad. Not according to Dr. Dennis. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a few moments with Spirituality Rocks.
Boy, you are good.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divine.
You know you already want a Toyota, but when you want more from your Toyota store, you want Smithtown Toyota, where every Toyota comes with Smithtown Toyota's Toyota for Life program, giving you lifetime New York State inspections, lifetime 10% discounts on all parts and service, 2 years of complimentary oil changes, 2 years of scheduled maintenance, and more, all at no cost to you, plus low clear-out deals on every Toyota in stock. Get more from your Toyota store. Hurry to Smithtown Toyota.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Like so many people, are your finances tight lately? Afraid to open your mail or even answer your phone? Well, take heart. You don't have to live like that. If you're 62 or older and own your own home, you can join the thousands of folks who have used safe and effective government-insured reverse mortgages. The government-insured reverse mortgages from Long Island's Senior Reverse Network allow you to stay in your home and turn equity into tax-free cash. Our government-insured reverse mortgages can eliminate mortgage payments, credit card balances, or just improve your lifestyle. Do yourself a favor and solve these problems now. Call the Senior Reverse Network, and our advisors will answer all of your questions about our reverse mortgage programs. We've helped scores of senior Long Island homeowners like you who now enjoy a worry-free retirement. Get the financial security and peace of mind you've dreamed about. Pick up the phone and call us at the Senior Reverse Network now to set up a free consultation.
Call 1-800-985-REVERSE. That's 1-800-985-7383.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, in the studio with Barbara Griminger of the Center for Spiritual Living, and with us on Skype, from California. Where do you live in California, Dr. Dennis?
Just north of Los Angeles.
Just north of Los Angeles. I met Dr. Dennis at an affiliated New Thought Network conference. When was that? Do you recall when that was?
Many moons ago. Probably
Yeah, many
late
moons.
90s, yeah.
It was definitely in the 90s, the late 90s. And we both hold our credentials with Emerson Theological Institute. That's emersoninstitute.edu if you want to check it out. So I want to talk to you a little bit for a moment before we jump back in about this show is going to be airing for a couple of weeks, and I'm so glad it's such a juicy show. Tell your friends. They can watch it anytime they want. They can go to ustream.com or youtube.com and just type in Spirituality Rocks and look for Dennis Merrit Jones. Coming up in January, we have author Dr. Bonnie Barnard. She's author of A Year of Good, A Year of God, Daily Lessons for the Mystic in Training. Reverend Saba Mchunguzi is going to be joining us. Reverend Maria Clementi will be with us. Jamie Sanders of Unity of Pensacola. Reverend Kevin Cottrell Ross from Sacramento, California. And the list goes on and on. We have Dr. George Ment, who wrote the book on abundance. So keep in mind, Spirituality Rocks, and please tell your friends about it. If you'd like more information about the ideas we talked about today, you can send an email to me, Dr. Janine Burns @gmail.com, and we can tell you more about it. Of course, our guest, you can see his website, Dennis Merrit Jones. We're focusing today on his book, The Art of Uncertainty, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It. If you go to Barnes & Noble, they just chose it as one of their reward books, reprinted it, and you can get it at half the price of the hardcover copy. So I encourage you to get this book. This is one fantastic book that will really bring you effortlessly with wonderful opportunities to grow out of your old limiting habits and really learn the dance, how to dance with uncertainty so you can access your full potential. And I just want to say thank you to Madhouse TV. We're in our new studios. These studios are fantastic. They're big studios. We are in Deer Park, Long Island. We film live Spirituality Rocks every Thursday at 6 p.m. But on Monday nights at 8 p.m. is the Maverick Soul Hour with Tommy Marr, who's the Woodstock guru. You can also check out Frank Prince has his own TV show on comedy. There's Gail King. So there's a lot of things going on with Madhouse Studios. A lot of a talent associated with these studios, and I'm proud to be part of the Madhouse family. Now, each week during the show, we do affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment in New Thought, because you actually treat your mind to a new thought. Correct. And Barbara is going to do an affirmative prayer for us. So I invite you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Get yourself centered. You may want to close your eyes as she leads us in affirmative prayer. Okay. Go for it.
Thank you. So this treatment is for each one to know that they are the light of spirit. There is one universal life, and each one is one with it. Each one embodies the love of spirit and is the light of spirit in action. We know we are here for this divine purpose. We know that we are the channels to express the light, the love, the peace, the abundance, and the joy of spirit. And we remember that any darkness, any doubt, any fear arises from a sense of separation. And so we just heal that separation right here and now. And we know that it all dissolves in the light and the love of spirit, which we shine upon it right now. This is our truth, and so it is.
And so it is. Woohoo! Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Oh, you're sweet.
So, Dr. Dennis, in the book, you talk about habits, and we were saying that usually when you talk about a habit, Barbara, we were saying how it's like this negative thing. I love how you addressed habits, and I loved how you talked about, and I remember reading this and thinking, now, is this habit bringing me towards the life I want to live? Is this bringing me towards my dreams and goals? Or is this habit keeping me stuck in the muck and mire of lack and limitation?
Right. I love the way you said habits are just creative energy desiring to express.
Creative energy is so simple.
When you think about it that way, it just takes all the negativity out of it, and you just can say, okay, what am I trying to express here?
Yeah.
And that's where mindfulness comes in again, is once you can be self-observant and catch yourself in your behavior in a habit, you can challenge the habit. And until you're conscious of it, you will never challenge it. It will own you. And as you said, habit is nothing. All habit is nothing more than energy moving in a specific direction. And either we can guide that energy intentionally, or we can go unconscious, and it'll have its way with us and it'll take the path of least resistance, and we'll suffer because of it. There's no such thing as a bad habit or good habit. There's only habits. People think of bad habits because when you talk about habits, that's what generally floats to the surface. But what about the habit of brushing your teeth?
Great habit.
Taking a shower or doing the things that you do on a daily basis that are proactive and good for you? Those are habits too. It's just that the intention behind the energy driving the habit is becomes so well ingrained in you that it becomes automatic. But the point is, any habit you create, you can uncreate and redirect the energy. It's just a matter of being conscious of it.
Right, and in the book you talked about that, and you said, once conscious of what you said, then we really realize that we're at choice. And on page 115, I'm reading, it says, metaphorically, we can choose to be dragged through life by the horse of our habit energy, or we can train that same horse and ride it, letting it assist us in moving in the direction of our choosing. And that a life worth living is built on the positive use of our habit energy. Gosh, I love that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Very empowering ideas.
Now, we have about 8 minutes left in the show, and I do want to make sure that we address this idea of 3 miracles. So, Dr. Dennis, talk to us about the 3 miracles, please.
This goes back full circle to the importance of mindfulness and self-inquiry. The question that you want to ask yourself on a daily basis, and this is such a profound and simple but deep question, do I take time daily to contemplate the gift that has already been given to me? And that gift, of course, is life itself. This is where living in uncertainty is necessary. And you ask yourself, am I honoring the giver of the gift by consciously unfolding and expanding and expressing the life that has been given to me? And that's when we begin to take a proactive stance in our daily lives and mindfully moving in the direction of a creative, fulfilling expression. That's why we're here, to be the vessel through which and as which the universe, God, life, finds fullness of expression. And the way that we can enter this is in the Indian tradition, the Native American tradition. There's 3 questions that lead to the 3 miracles that will help you explore the profound depth of who you are, but more importantly, why you are. The first of the 3 miracles is that anything exists. Think about that. That anything exists is profoundly amazing. The second miracle is that living things exist. And the third miracle is that living things exist that know they exist. And that would be you and me. To be able to stand outside of ourselves and witness ourselves as this conscious, volitional, free-choosing being is a profound process. And to contemplate the mystery of this miracle is to literally gaze directly into the eyes of God every time we look in the mirror. Every time we look into the eyes of a stranger is to look deeply into the eyes of the beloved and to realize that our purpose is to be the vessel through which and as which the beloved one expresses, pushes out, grows, evolves, unfolds. That's what the universe is doing, and we're nothing less or more than microcosms of that macrocosm. That's being on purpose.
Nice. Wow.
That's when our being merges with our doing, and that's what it's about.
Boy, that's juicy.
Yes.
Barbara, you mentioned the chapter on abundance, how much you loved it.
I did. I thought it was very well put. You said that abundance, I'm paraphrasing here, you said abundance is the natural state of limitlessness in the universe, and that prosperity is the demonstration of that abundance. I think that is so helpful to people because many people are drawn into New Thought because of prosperity issues, but then it becomes difficult to understand. And I think that was very clear that God is abundant, the universe is abundant, we have that abundance. Aligned with the principle, we draw prosperity into our affairs.
Abundance is the principle of more than enough.
Yes.
Prosperity is our demonstration or lack of demonstration of more than enough. It goes back to the principle of success. When we demonstrate lack, we're actually succeeding at demonstrating the law of more than enough, but in a negative way. More than enough, nothing.
Right. rather than, you were saying in the book, rather than the Dow and the stock exchange being a barometer that dictates how we're going to feel that day.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's
That's exactly what it
way too much agreement with that happening right now
Yeah.
on the outer.
Exactly,
Right? It's
there's
up
too
to
much.
us to know better.
You know what? We just have a couple of minutes left in the show. And Dr. Dennis, I think you know I write spiritual jingles.
Yes,
And
I do.
I was very honored Deepak Chopra endorsed my CD. I wrote a Christmas jingle, and I want to sing it to you. And I wrote it because I'm really into this idea of light. And
Okay.
it's to the tune of Jingle Bells. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, don't laugh at me.
No,
Okay.
never.
It goes like this. I live in love and light. I let go of yesterday. My life is filled with peace and joy, 'cause every day I pray. I'm awake to the power I am. I'm standing in the light. I disregard negativity. It's my divine birthright. I'm awake to the power I am. I'm standing in the light. I accept abundance now. It's my divine birthright.
Hey,
Love it.
Where's the applause sign when you need it?
I want to hear that when I'm shopping.
You want to hear that when you're shopping.
Yes.
Isn't that fun? Now, if you want a copy of the words to that jingle, because you know what? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And sometimes we get a negative thought. That's why I wrote all these jingles. You get a negative thought and you want to redirect your
right
mind.
out.
I love to sing affirmations. So you can write me an email at drjanineburns@gmail. And I want you to make sure to check out Dr. Dennis's website. It is Dennis Merrit Jones. Dennis Merrit, MERITT Jones.com.
That's 2 R's. DENNISMERRITT.
Oh, thank you.
JONES.com.
Well,
I just checking to see if you're listening.
Every word.
All right, fantastic. And so you can check that out. And Barbara, do you have a closing nugget about the book that you'd like to tell the people? We have about a minute left in the show.
I love the way you said certainty and uncertainty are human inventions. We give it power and meaning, and we can revoke that power. So that's a great statement.
What I would offer your audience to close with is a quote by Guillaume Apollinaire.
Okay.
Come to the edge, he said. They said, no, we're afraid. Come to the edge, he said. They came. He pushed them. They flew.
That's good.
Okay, well, I'm ready to fly. How about you?
We're flying.
Good. I invite you to check out Dr. Dennis's book, and there is a workbook. If you go on his website, there's a free workbook that empowers you on your spiritual journey to uncover and express your divine potential. Thank you for joining us today on Spirituality Rocks, Dr. Dennis. Just so thrilled that you can be here with us. We look forward to having you again on our show.
Look forward to it.
And Barbara, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and we will see you live in 2 weeks on January 2nd with Dr. Bonnie Barward and the Reverend Saba Mchanguzi. And remember, the power is within you. You can tap into your potential, and that is why spirituality rocks. I'm Janine Burns, your host, signing off. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.